106.7 Buzz 2. More of what you love.
Wait. You had me at hello.
KBZU Little Rock.
And they're off. A perfect start to the 87th Arkansas Derby.
Oaklawn Raceday, your inside track with some of the hottest thoroughbred action in America. And only a short drive away in Hot Springs.
Hot and sultry to the inside third, final 16. Secret Oath, here comes Clariere. Secret Oath, Clariere racing on the outside. Clariere gets up. Clariere adds the Grade 1 Apple Blossom to her remarkable resume.
Arkansas residents can even watch and wager online with Oaklawn anywhere. Go to bet.oaklawn.com or download the app on your iPhone or iPad for details. Gambling problem? Dial 1-800-522-4700. And now, here are your hosts, Justin Acree and Director of Oaklawn Anywhere, David Longinati.
It is great to be back with you on a Saturday. We are here live, and the folks are flowing into Oaklawn, and we are just about underway. And, David, great to be with you. We've got a great show lined up today, and looks like the rain has moved out, so we're going to have pretty good conditions. Infield is closed, though, from the past rain we've got in the last couple of days, but it should be a fantastic day to be down here and getting in on some racing. It's a big weekend in Hot Springs with the high school championships going on. I'm sure you've had a lot of folks from all over the state coming in who don't normally get a chance to come over here. So a lot of energy in Hot Springs and certainly here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, this is kind of the first weekend of our two big weekends in Hot Springs. Of course, this weekend there's another one with the eclipse, but this is also kind of the first week of spring break in surrounding states. So it's always a big day at Oaklawn during these weekends. Next weekend we got St. Patrick's Day Parade downtown, but today we're focused on racing. 10 great races on tap here locally, including one of my favorite races, Grade 2 $400,000 Azeri Stakes for fillies and mares. This is the final local prep for the Grade 1 Apple Blossom Handicap, and I'm pretty, excited about the way the field came together.
Yeah, we got a big prep race at Tampa we'll talk about, too, with Jeff Taylor when he joins us in our second segment. First post today is at 12:30. We're going to open up with the sprint race. And a guy who's got a very busy day ahead of him has been kind enough to join us today. We're talking to jockey Keith Asmussen, who's popped over with us, and thank you so much for being with us. I know we tried to run you down last week, and it's probably crazy this time of year for you, but thanks for carving out a little time for us. How are you?
Wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for having me, Justin and David.
You bet.
Couldn't be more excited to be on the show and for the day today.
Yep, couple wins yesterday. Congratulations there, and obviously got to be thrilled with the way your start of the season's gone.
No, just like you said, thrilled to have an excellent meet. As far as it's gone, I definitely intend to have it keep going the same.
Keith, I feel like I've grown up around you. I remember you being in the winner's circle when Curran won the Arkansas Derby. Going back that far, and I'll be honest with you, when I heard you're going to ride, I thought he's kind of tall. But I have been just, in my mind, in my ex-journalism days, you're the story of the season so far. Your riding has improved so dramatically. Not that you were bad to begin with, but your riding is just, you don't make mistakes out there.
I wouldn't say don't make mistakes, but definitely, intentional and trying to be better every day. Working on my craft, coming in, grateful for the opportunity, but with the full intention of getting better every day. Just wake up, focus, watch races, work on my craft, watch replays. Like, it's day in, day out. It's to the point of an obsession, but I definitely intend on going the same direction.
I love that.
Yeah, the obsessive part about horse racing kind of runs in the Asmussen family.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm curious about it. I mean, again, it's pretty easy to follow in the footsteps in some capacity. Were you encouraged to get into the business, discouraged, not encouraged at all? I mean, we have discussions. I mean, and again, which path to go, whether it was training or being a jockey, how'd that all come together?
You're just incredibly blessed to grow up around it. Obviously, son of a very successful thoroughbred horse trainer, and just incredibly blessed to be around such a volume of horses, the duration of my life, and always was infatuated with being around the horses on the backside. And it was a kind of a progression into riding. I started hot walking, I rub my own. I have a couple of my own to groom. I started exercising horses when I was 15, 16. It was just something I thoroughly enjoyed. There's no feeling like being on a thoroughbred racehorse at full flight. It was, just turned into a passion and something you wanted to work on. Uh, growing up around the backside, to say, you have to admit, like, everybody kind of wants to be a jockey growing up. And admittedly, it didn't really seem like a possibility. And it was, I was proficient in high school, and I did have a plan of going and getting my degree at higher education. And it was, this spring of 2020, COVID hit. I was working a part-time job in Austin, but had always galloped horses. When everything went virtual, I came straight here. I called Darren Fleming, my father's assistant trainer here at Hot Springs. I was like, hey, I'd love to come work for you. And so I would gallop horses and take my classes online. It was, I had a cool stint of galloping for 4 months and got to the summer around Lone Star. And it is something I was always thinking about, but, very transparent with my parents. I was like, this is something I'd love to try, even if it's one time. It's something I'd love to experience. It's something nobody could take away from you. And, had a very brief riding career that summer at Lone Star and one weekend at Remington. But before I ever started, they made me promise that I'd go back and get my degree because they knew once I started, I wouldn't want to go back to school. And so I had to stick to my promise, hung up my tack. I had 2 more years of college. And when I graduated in 2022, I ran straight back to the backside with it still in the forefront of my mind.
Well, the thing that's cool is not only do you get to make your own way in this industry as a jockey who's been very successful so far, but you get to work with your dad too. So you ride for him some, and today you got an instance where you're riding against him. I'm just not necessarily against him, but riding for a different trainer. I'm curious what's it like when you're kind of representing on the same team, and then also what it's like when you're kind of opposed to each other in a race.
Absolutely. My biggest coach, my biggest mentor, who's helped me more than anything else, is my father. And I believe we're a very beneficial team, having worked together. I feel like I thoroughly understand the majority of the horses that I ride for here, given that I'm on them in the mornings and to understand the intention and the strategy behind them. But there's also an understanding that, I'm my own man. I'll try to get every opportunity that I can and do right by them. And so.
And it is, and one of the signs of Keith's success is the fact that a lot of other trainers are also now seeking him out. He's ridden for Ron Moquette. He's, Dwayne Lucas. I know he's been very important to your career. You won your first graded stakes race a couple of weeks ago on 1-0. Really, I think shocked us all the way she ran. Did you really envision that going on? You're going into a graded race with a horse that's never won, a maiden.
Never doubt the coach. And to work with a horseman like that is, truly humbling. His level of understanding is, unbelievable compared to mine. I've easily put in 10,000 hours, and I'm not even an inkling of an understanding of what he has. And, the case of the filly, I'd always thought she was incredibly talented and classy, and we were really excited to stretch her out. But it was definitely a tough spot.
Yeah.
But always trusting the coach, was more than excited to be able to ride her, and was even more pleased with the outcome.
We're talking to Keith Asmussen if you're just tuning in, and I'm curious, again, success can be measured in a lot of ways. Wins, purse money. How do you measure success? Maybe even like you were talking about, scoring an upset with a horse that wasn't expected to get there. How do you measure success?
More of a feeling, knowing that you got great effort out of a horse where you put them in a position to win, and you put them in the race where they're comfortable within themselves, and then had an ability to finish up a race, and they, ran to the best of their ability. And it's more of a feeling than a tally. And that's how I kind of judge myself.
Makes sense. We talk on the show sometimes where we're like, oh, the horses are really going to like this particular weather day or something like that. I'm curious, again, most of us cannot even imagine being on the back of a thoroughbred going at full speed. It's a scary thought to me. I love watching it, but I can't imagine trying to do it. For you, what's a perfect day? Like, give me your perfect conditions, or does it even make any difference once you're up there and running?
Oh, every day's a perfect day.
Okay.
I really do feel blessed to be able to do this. This is something that is so challenging and fulfilling at the same time. I've never done anything like it, and I just feel incredibly grateful to be able to.
But as far as weather, you like it cooler, warmer, off track, perfect track? Like, what do you like? Like, if you could pick a perfect day for a track condition, what are you looking for?
Sunny 70 is ideal.
Yeah.
It's just ideal surface. It's better for the horses, but comes down to me, it's rain or shine. I'm excited to run.
No doubt. Well, it's a different kind of challenge, I'm sure, every time. You know, obviously we're biased here, and Hot Springs is such an incredible place, and Oaklawn's such a fantastic facility. I'm just curious about your feelings of being here, and then also places you've enjoyed being at outside of here, you know, in your career.
There's nothing like Oaklawn. Like, the population here is so invested into, you know, the horses and the connections, and it's such a exciting environment to race at. You know, the public is very exciting. In addition to the horsemen and the horses here, you know, it's an impressive caliber of both horses. Other racetracks, I grew up 10 minutes away from Lone Star Park in Arlington, Texas, and so, I mean, past summer when I got to race there, it was always fun because I'd get my friends to come out to the races and stuff like that. But it's definitely been an amazing experience running here at Oaklawn.
So here, the key question I've got for you now is, when Oaklawn ends this year, are you going back to Texas? Are you going to go into Kentucky this year, or?
I will most likely move my tack to Kentucky after running the duration of the meet here. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, I've understood that part. And just the move from, you know, all young jockeys when they begin here. First of all, this is a tough track to begin as a jockey.
Yeah.
And you didn't begin here, but I feel like you grew into a very talented jockey here. And the thing for most jockeys here is, you know, when you leave here, where do you go? That says a lot about your potential. And when you say Kentucky, that means A, that you're riding against the top jockeys in the country again for the rest of the year. And it also says that there are other horsemen who want you there.
Exactly. And it's kind of like you said, this very impressive riding colony that I admire and respect. I've learned so much from them that it's made me the rider I am today. And, you know, it's a similarly competitive colony up in Kentucky, but it's not that different.
Yeah.
You know, this is a tough colony.
As they say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right?
Exactly.
We're talking to Keith Asmussen, if you're just tuning in. Bellamore in the Azeri today. Give me your thoughts, and I don't know how much you've ridden her, but how do you feel about your matchup? It's a very, very competitive field today.
Absolutely. Impressive field. And I, lucky enough to be able to work with her before she went to Houston. She was training here, worked her multiple times before she went and won the Houston Ladies Classic. After that, she came back here and has been training beautifully since. I couldn't be more excited for the opportunity today.
One last thing I want to ask you about is, you know, your dad. I mean, people find out your dad was a jockey at one point because, again, he talked about your height. I mean, you guys have some height in your family. Dad looks like a power forward now more than he does a former jockey. But do you see training at some point in your career when you're done riding? Is that something that's on your radar?
I don't think it's something I've, you know, said to be for sure. I do love being around the horses, and I do have an infatuation to being around them, but it's not something that's for sure. I plan on riding until it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's a long time from now, for sure. Well, listen, we'll let you get to it. I really appreciate you coming by. Best of luck today. I know you got a full riding day today, and certainly hope you get a good crack in the Azeri as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Justin and David, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Keith.
All right, that's Keith Asmussen. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Jeff Taylor will join us. Quick recap of what happened last week at some of those national prep races, and then we'll look ahead to what's going on in Tampa today, as well as getting a breakdown of the Azeri and a long shot and a best bet as well. We're back in a moment on Oaklawn Raceday.
Roger, did you know that Oaklawn Sports is the mobile app that lets you bet anywhere in Arkansas?
Anywhere, so I can bet the over when I'm in Dover.
Indeed you can.
I can take the underdog in Dogtown.
Absolutely.
You're telling me I can bet on the pigskin and piggott?
Yep.
Hoops and humnote, baseball and boxing, long jump and Vega?
All of the above.
Anywhere, huh?
Anywhere.
Nice.
Easy to use and even easier to fund. Bet with confidence. Bet with Oaklawn Sports. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Hey everyone, this is Heather Baker, president and publisher of AY Media Group here in Arkansas. We publish two of the biggest and most widely read magazines in the entire state, AY Magazine and Arkansas Money and Politics. At AY and Arkansas Money and Politics, we keep you up to date on all the news you need to know and the stories you want to hear. Visit us online at aymag.com and armoneyandpolitics.com to see for yourself. Now, more than ever, it is important to be mindful of where you get your news and support your local businesses. With AY Media Group, you get the best of both worlds.
What would you call a city that made $100 million a year off of gambling and prostitution? The FBI called it illegal. But here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, we just called it tourism. Enjoy the story of the great American Spy told by the people who lived through it at the award-winning Gangster Museum of America, 510 Central Avenue in Hot Springs. 501-318-1717 or go to tgmoa.com.
Take your yard up to the next level with the Caddy's Touch Landscaping. Josh Dickinson is a former PGA Tour caddy, and his landscape designs are inspired by some of the most beautiful golf courses around the world. Call Josh at 501-794-2770 for all of your landscaping needs. Flower beds a mess? Josh's crew can give your home the curb appeal you've always wanted. The Caddy's Touch Landscaping also installs French drains, retaining walls, and they'll even take care of your irrigation maintenance needs. The Caddy's Touch Landscaping. Call today, 501-794-2770.
All right, welcome back to Oaklawn Raceday. We've got no time to waste. Let's get to it. Jeff Money Taylor popping right in. It was like a revolving door. Out goes Keith, in comes Money. What's up, buddy?
Tough act to follow. That kid's got it going on, doesn't he?
Yeah, impressive young man, and great early start to his career. We're going to get to the races today here at Oaklawn. Quick recap from last week, guys. Let's talk about what happened in the prep races, and got some right, maybe not some so much, but Aqueduct, deterministic, edging out the favorite in that one. It was a sloppy track out there. Give me kind of your thoughts on what happened out at Aqueduct.
Well, it was one of those races, Justin, and we haven't seen too many, at least in my opinion, this early in the season. That's going to kind of stick with me. I was really impressed. I thought Deterministic was going to be a solid second at the 8th pole, but he found another gear, and that was super impressive after being away from the races for 8 months with just the 1-7 furlong maiden win to his credit back last August. A credit to Chad Brown of having him very ready, more than ready, as a matter of fact. If he can platform off this race and move forward a little bit, I think he is a major player come the first Saturday in May.
I'd have to agree with JT's assessment. Of the three races we saw last week, I think Deterministic was the most impressive. And, you know, the one that I'm going to definitely put a check mark by to look to see what he does next.
The question becomes now in the, at Gulfstream last week in the Fountain Youth, Dornoch wins, but only a 5-horse field, and second place was a 27-1 shot. So again, not to discount his performance, but does that in any way take away from it for you?
Well, I mean, I think Dornoch got out of the race what he needed to get out of the race. I mean, I don't think he was spectacular or sizzling or dazzling. But when you're a 2-year-old and you win at a mile and an eighth, dropping back to a mile and 16th for your next start, you don't expect to see anything dazzling. But I think he got what he needed out of the race. We'll look forward to him in the Florida Derby, and I think the Florida Derby is going to be a very interesting race now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Speakeasy next. Of course, he ran off minor injuries, I understand, was a late scratch. Dornoch and him are going to share the favorite's responsibility, I think, that last. But it basically looked like a walkover on paper, but visually, Justin, you're right, it was not. Dornoch had a lot of work to do, but again, he's not going to be at his best at this time of the year. They're looking forward another race or two to get him in top form. So I wasn't impressed with the race. I think he's vulnerable. To be honest with you, Dornoch, he's going to have to move up significantly in my book to be successful in the Florida Derby, and we'll just have to wait and see.
And then out at Santa Anita last week, the prep race there, and again, he's got to kind of factor in field size there as well. But what'd you think?
Just average, it looked like an in-company workout basically between the two Baffert colts. They hook up and they run 1-2 basically all the way around there. Scatify had a horrible beginning. He bobbled out of the gate, was not in his customary position up front. He got jammed back in the first turn and his race was over with. And essentially the race was over. It was just which Baffert towards was gonna win it, and it's immaterial when it comes to the Derby situation because obviously Baffert not eligible. Those two first and second points do not go rewarded. So that race really didn't tell us much of anything, I think.
Yeah, imagination the best of four. So we'll move on and try to look ahead here now, and we can talk about the Azeri first, and we'll get to the Tampa Bay Derby coming up in a bit. And again, a field of 8 in here with Hot and Sultry, with Santana aboard at a 2-1 favorite. But as we were talking about, a very competitive field, and we just visited with Keith Asmussen. He's on a 5-1 shot, and that's the 4th pick on the morning line. So, I mean, you've got a really good group in here, JT.
Yeah, this race has historically been so very good through the years. It's a solid grade 2, obviously, and this bunch maybe not up to grade par yet, but I think you're going to see something from a few of these moving forward, including a race in the Apple Blossom that a couple of these are going to prep for this afternoon. I see a lot of pace in here, to be honest, and that's kind of where I started with the handicapping process. I think the number 1, Soul of an Angel, is going to be vastly overlooked in here. I'd love to get 8-1 on this Royal Delta runner-up from her last start, a grade 3 down at Gulfstream. She made a nice run. Certainly outran her price at over 40-1. She's a stakes winner. She doesn't win all that very often, but she does usually show up and get a piece of it. I'm going to start putting some vertical bets together with her maybe in that second and third slot, not necessarily on top. A couple of these front runners are going to back out of it. I'm certainly going to use Keith Asmussen in there. Bellamore, I thought she looked very good in winning the Houston race down there in her last start. So a 1-2 exacta here would be very, very good in my book.
No doubt. What do you think, Dave?
Well, I think he's got the wrong horse. Sorry. I don't like the one at all. I love Bellamore. I absolutely love Bellamore. This is a pattern that Steve Asmussen has used in the past to come in. He did it with Clariere. He did it with someone else who slips my mind at this time. But he likes to get that first start in the race in Houston. That was on a muddy. It was a good surface, but it was very slow that day. The horse who he came in and beat Free Like a Girl, came in and won yesterday going a mile.
And looked very good in doing so.
And looked very good in doing so. So I love Bellamore in this spot. Everyone's going to also gravitate a bit to Hot and Sultry, who was the 4-5 favorite in the Bayacoa, but did not get out of the gate. She's going to the front today. She has to, as well as 2 or 3 others in here. JT is right about a horse who's coming from off the pace. He just got the wrong one. It's going to be Bellamore.
Okay.
I smell a horse for horse bet here.
We will see, won't we? All right, Dave, we'll give you first crack at the Tampa Bay Derby, mile and a 16th here. And again, even being a native Iowan, I've always got to have a little pause there when I see an Iowa bred as a favorite in a horse race like this one. But No More Time won the Sam F. Davis at Tampa back on February 10th. So certainly deserving of the 7-5 morning line. But again, anytime I see a horse that is bred in my native state, it makes me think twice.
Well, I didn't even notice that. That tells you how, if there had been an Archie bred in it, I probably would have noticed. Yeah. But I did. I just now know after you said that. I went, oh, it was an Iowa
corn
bred.
Power running there for No More Time.
I like a different horse in this one. And this race is obviously domestic product from Chad Brown's going to get a lot of action. He's 8-5 favorite. The Iowa bred's going to get a lot of action as well. He's also a short price. Here's what Todd Pletcher turns things around today with the one horse Heartened.
Okay.
Todd he's had bad luck this prep season, and I think it ends today. Heartened won Madden Special Weight at Tampa on the undercard of the Sam Davis. The race was just fast, figure-wise, as the Sam Davis was. I think he improves off that race. Jose Ortiz keeps them out, which I think is telling as well. He gives up a whole full card at Gulfstream to come to ride in this. So Heartened is going to be my top pick in this race. I don't think you're going to get 10-1, but if you get anything close to 6 or 7 or 8-1, I'm going to be right there.
JT, this is where you go. I like your thinking, but you got the wrong horse.
I could say that, but tell me if you've heard this one before. How about a 7-furlong maiden winner at first asking in a top 3-year-old race early in the spring, and that criteria fits number 4, Good Money. The big move here is Irad Ortiz up. I mean, he is the reigning multiple Eclipse winning rider for a reason. And if he's in Florida, he gets to pick whoever he wants to ride, and that's pretty much basically it. He gets on a horse that comes off a modest speed figure, only a 63 buyer in that 7/8 win, but he did so in pretty good, solid fashion. He, I think, is going to be very close, if not on the lead, in a race that I find very, very cloudy from a pace standpoint. Give me Irad in that first flight, and I'll take my chances at 15-1.
I like it. If we can get
you see what I did? I wrote one on this first, then I wrote, JT will pick that one. I got to go somewhere else.
Now you're the next level. You're predicting what he's going to do.
Now I'm done. Now I'm done.
That's so predictable, JT. I'll tell you what. And I'll tell you what, if I can get the exacta with your 2 horses, we're going to be sitting pretty. That's for sure.
Indeed.
I'll take the 1-4 combo, please. All right, we're going to hit a break, come back. Best bet long shots as we continue on here on Oaklawn Raceday, live from Hot Springs. Beautiful day to be out, and it's just going to get better and better. Razorbacks are on over the Mainline Sports Bar, and we'll have racing here in about an hour. Stay tuned.
Is your Oaklawn thoroughbred racing action so close you can feel it? Or is it the view from your trackside luxury suite? However you like it, racing season is off and running at Oaklawn, with live races every weekend through May 4th. It's fun by the furlong all season long. Make your reservations today at Oaklawn.com. What's your Oaklawn? Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Nothing compares to the feeling of wearing a Facet Sapphire diamond from Sissy's Log Cabin. The first diamond cutting advancement in over a century, Facet Sapphire diamonds are created by etching thousands of nanoprisms onto the pavilion of an exquisite natural diamond. The result is a stone with more brilliance than any other. Just ask any of the expert staff at Sissy's, and they'll show you the vibrant burst of fiery color that's visible to the naked eye. From engagement rings to necklaces to bracelets to earrings, Facet Sapphire Diamond takes any piece to a new level of spectacular. And no jewelry collection is complete without one. Facet Sapphire Diamonds are passion personified, but don't just take my word for it. You can shop Facet Sapphire online at sissyslogcabin.com or at any of their 6 locations. Experience the revolution in diamonds for yourself only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
When you do something for over 45 years, you get really good at it. Like Janet here. She's been playing badminton for over 45 years. With a flick of her racket, she can place the shuttlecock so it rewinds her grandfather clock. Does her taxes. Even flambés a dessert. Delectable Cherries Jubilee, Janet. We're a lot like Janet playing badminton, except we do it with insurance. Williamson Insurance, protecting your business and your family for over 45 years.
Final segment of Oaklawn Raceday here on 106.7 Buzz 2. We will be back on our normal spot, I think, for the remainder of the season, barring any strange SEC tournament assignments for Arkansas, if they can get to that point. I hope they're playing on Saturday next week. We'll just have to see what happens. But anyway, let's get to it here, and we'll start with you, David, on your best bet today.
All right, we're going to go to race number 6 for my best bet. This is a maiden special weight race going 1 mile. You look for the 1 horse, Under the Palms, trained by Key McPick, will be ridden by Julian Lepereau. First start since August, but I really like this horse. I like the fact that she's never started at anything less than a mile and 16th. I like the fact that she's getting Lasix today, and I really love the fact that she's 10-1 in the morning line.
I like that as well. What do you say, JT?
Well, my best bet's almost as good a price. The next race number 7 with another number 1. Legendary Lore couldn't get out of here without picking the Asmussens here in at least one spot this afternoon. This is one that got her non-2 win in fine fashion 2 starts ago. They hauled all the way to Houston for an allowance date. She was overmatched in that with a 4th-place performance. She's back up here for a claiming price. Non-3 condition fits her perfectly. Keith is going to sit the trip that we've seen him do so many times here this meet. He's got horse. He's going to sit on the fence with a stalking type of trip, and I think he gets through. 8-1, my best bet, number 1, Legendary Love in race number 7.
All right, how about a long shot for you
Stay in with that number 1. Let's go back to the second half of the early double. Mr. Cougar, this horse's analytics look horrible. 0 for 20 at Oaklawn, 1 for 39, or I think lifetime, some terrible number, but this horse is gonna be in a position to at least do a little bit of damage late. This race melts down up front. You're gonna see a 22.45, and for Arkansas bred, those fractions are entirely too fast. Mr. Cougar just kind of slogs it down the lane. He gets a piece of it. I'm not gonna say he's gonna win it, but at 25 or 30-1, Mr. Cougar, I think, bears watching in race number 2.
Okay.
Long shot. Go to number 8. This is Keith Asmussen day all over the place.
I thought we were going to go track bias and go with the 1 hole all day.
This is my long shot pick of the day. Race number 8, the 4, Riyadh Moon, trained by Keith Asmussen, ridden by Keith Asmussen. This horse's last race, completely throw it out. He ran off during the post parade, galloped off about 4 or 5 furlongs. So in that race, when he broke from the gate, he was really keyed up, tried to get the start, and from that point, he just kind of pitched it in. And Keith did what a smart jockey does. He took care of him. Wait for the next time. So this time it's going to be today. Riyadh Moon in the 8th race 8, 12-1 in the morning line, and I think we'll get every bit of it.
Well, let's hope that he has a better start to his loading process. Next week, Thursday racing again, so we get to enjoy that all month long. Don't forget about that. And then we've got Hall of Fame Day next week, and then the $250,000 Grade 3 Whitmore Stakes and the $200,000 Purple Martin, so pretty good weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Don't forget, on those Thursdays, every Thursday in March is free parking, free admission, free program, and $1 hot dog.
$1 hot dog.
See you next Thursday. Sounds fantastic. That's going to do it for us. Appreciate Chris all the way back in the studio. For JT and David, I'm Justin Aker. This has been Oaklawn Raceday. We'll join you next week in our normal spot over on 103.7. And good luck today, everybody.
Come to Oaklawn for a great